people go to estate sales to find things that people don't value right.
Yep.
You know, think about it. Have you ever had anybody pass away in your family?
Yes.
Have you ever had to go and,
of course,
and clean the house out that they left behind?
I actually have
Yes
a
or no?
story to go along with that. My great aunt used to own a retail store in a downtown neighborhood here for years and years and years, and she dealt in collectibles.
Yep.
And so when she passed away, her children were able to go into these warehouses, as it were, and imagine lunch boxes from the 1950s or dolls from the 1940s,
Relics.
still in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect
Yes.
condition. They've increased, 100 times in value.
yeah.
Putting a value on things.
Yeah.
And here it is, when someone passed away, it's up to you. It happened to my wife. Her uncle passed away, and then we
Okay.
had to go clean his house out and then
Yeah.
get rid of all the stuff there. Get rid of is an optimum word, because we didn't really value everything the right, or I didn't really spend much time that her mom and her didn't really value everything properly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I went one day, I said, this isn't for me. I did get a baseball card out of it, so a
that's cool.
baseball too.
Okay.
But how do you value things the right way? Because that's when the sharks appear, when they assume you don't really know what it's worth.
That's
Right,
true.
right.
We're working on a new proprietary program with a different firm now that will enable you to have an app on your phone. You can take a picture of whatever the item is, and it'll tell you what the value is.
Yes, very
This will make it a lot easier. But that's a different story and a different show. What I'm talking about here is there's values for a lot of different things. There's different ways to invest. The investing we always have been brought up to know about is stock market.
Of course.
This is one probably
Bread
the
and
number.
butter,
And then
basic.
crypto is investing too. You're investing your money. Investments basically mean you take your money and you give it to somebody else for some item. That's investing.
Right, sure.
So it can either go up or down. The person who is selling it to you is hoping that they've made money too. And they're hoping that when they sell it to you, it's going to go down in value, because if it was going to go up, they would have held it. Or maybe they
Right.
need the money. So one of the things we're going to talk about here, we're going to concentrate on all different investments. We're going to talk about the stock market every now and then. We're going to talk about crypto. We're going to get CEOs on from different companies or people that invest in different areas that we've never heard of, and try to educate you as a general public of places that you might not even know that are good for investing.
That's right.
You might be sitting and feeling like you're in poverty right now, but you may be in a house that's loaded with things that are worth a lot of money, but they don't have much value to you because you don't really know what the value is.
Yeah, that's good.
So, right, Bruce? So one of the things that I've done here lately is I've been out trying to say to myself, how can I have the great first show for the Worldwide Investing Show?
Yeah.
And just came across my desk this company named Venue from J.W. Roth.
Venue.
Venue is a company that starts these outdoor amphitheaters, but they're VIP amphitheaters, and they have amazing amenities there. And it's like first class going to concert, because like JW has said, JW Roth, is most of the concerts you go to now is warm beer, standing in line, being at like a single A ballpark in baseball.
Sure, yeah.
So he said, what if we could VIP that experience? And we're going to end the show today with an interview that I just had in Wall Street. We went for the opening bell this past week and watched J.W. Roth ring that opening bell, and the stock symbol VENU has been launched. Let's go to that interview right now, and folks, we'll see you on the next show. Folks, it's Coach Pete here. I'm live on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with Mr. J.W. Roth, who has just launched his public traded company, Venue. JW, welcome in.
Coach, it's
Always
good to be
see
here.
you, man.
It's good to be here.
It's a fun day for you.
It's a fun day.
You rang the opening bell today.
We rang the opening bell. We opened the New York Stock Exchange. It's just funny, when you're a kid or you grow up and you always think of the New York Stock Exchange and how you picture it.
Yeah.
Then you get in business and you start to dream about how, where your company's going to ultimately go. But then to actually do it, to stand out there and ring the bell on the New York Stock Exchange, it's surreal.
It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
You look like
It's
a pro up
amazing.
there doing it.
Yeah, well, listen, I got him fooled. I got him fooled.
Now, all right, let's take a step back. Tell me how you got started in the business world.
Yep.
Let's do that. Let's do a quick history here.
Yep.
A couple minutes.
Yep.
Because that'll help, I think, folks that are watching. It'll help them understand who you are and why you're doing what you're doing now.
Yep. So, I did not start in the hospitality or entertainment space. I'm the founder at Roth Premium Foods. My background is all agriculture and in building food lines. So, Roth is a prepared food manufacturer. I think about the third largest in the United States.
Wow.
We build for almost every grocery store in America, and we do service every grocery store in America every day. Build between 100 and 150 tons of proteins for U.S. consumption every week. So that's what Roth does. Being a music nut, about 6 years ago, I sat down with my family and our partners, and I said, you know what? I've got another one in me. I want to go build another one. My son had been at Roth all the way along, was in a perfect position to just continue what we were doing there. And in fact, I tell people this all the time. He's actually, in a lot of ways, done better than the old man would have done. But it gave me the opportunity to then leave. I took a handful of my key people, and we worked out a transition plan. And over the course of a year or so, transitioned out my CFO and some of our business development folks and that kind of thing. And I started Venue. And the idea was, as a music fan, I've been to venues all over the world. And I can tell you that they're old. They're dilapidated, especially live music venues outdoor, like amphitheaters.
Yeah.
Most of them are 40, 50, 60 years old. And so they lack a lot of what the fan is demanding. Think about the NFL and Major League Baseball. It's kind of who I copied. I took a page right out of their playbook. I looked at them and said, look at what guys like George Steinbrenner did, or Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. You know, he took old, dilapidated stadiums, worked with municipalities, and built unbelievable experiences and unbelievable ambiance in stadiums now. So now when you go to a football stadium, you're not out there drinking a lukewarm beer, eating a lukewarm or cold hot dog.
Yeah.
You're going out there and you're enjoying club service and all of the things that go on with the stadium. I wanted to do that in music. So I started going around the country, hired Ryan and company to start putting public-private partnerships together. And this last summer, we opened the most premium amphitheater ever built in history. Ford Motor Company put their name on it. It's the Ford Amphitheater in Colorado Springs, Colorado. 92 fire pit suites, beautiful owners clubs. It's an incredible place. Today, on top of that, we have another $1 billion or so of construction going on throughout the U.S. in 5 different markets as we build amphitheaters. We're gonna do in music with those two guys, and I admire both Steinbrenner and Jerry Jones, what they did in football and baseball.
Yeah, amazing business people.
Unbelievable business people.
I've been to the Colorado Springs location, folks. Amazing.
Yeah,
the
it's
fire
incredible.
pits. Oh, just an amazing place.
It's incredible.
You don't even think you're at a traditional concert.
You know,
anymore.
Ryan Tedder is interesting. You know, Ryan Tedder, One Republic, he stepped out on stage. He sold out 3 shows for us this last summer. But he stepped on stage and he goes, geez, I feel like I'm in Dubai. You know, all of the fire going on and the fire pits going on, and it's incredible. It creates an unbelievable vibe and an unbelievable ambiance.
Yeah. So, I mean, this idea, though, came like, let's build amphitheaters? Or, I mean, that's what you said.
Here's what I said.
Okay.
I said, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of the venues that I go to, and they're terrible. Yeah. But I go to football games and baseball games, and I'm thinking, man, these are nice. Yeah. I could do this. So when I left Roth Premium Foods, I left for one specific reason, and that is to disrupt the venue space in live music. Disrupting, because some of the major league and football places, their video screens are better than the TV at home. No question, no question. And the food is unbelievable. I mean, you have 5-star restaurants now in baseball parks, and so we built the seafood and chop house in the Ford Amphitheater in Colorado Springs. It's a 5-star seafood and chop house inside of a music venue. That's amazing. Yeah, it's incredible. Hot dogs and a slice of pizza. That's right. That's exactly right. No more hot dogs and slices of cold pizza. All right. So now you got the idea. Let's build big amphitheaters and let the people to come. But how did you get the financing in place? Because that's a big proposition. You see all the NFL teams and major league teams. They have to really consider building something new these days. I mean, it's tens of millions of dollars to build these, and so. Basically, there's 3 parts to my financing strategy. First is the municipalities have to participate. So 35% or so of all of the financing comes from the municipality. The municipality provides the ground, provides the tax incentives. They're a big piece of the financing. And then I go out and I pre-sell. I build the structure of my amphitheaters like a condominium building, where we own the condominium building, and then we pre-sell condominiums in the form of fire pits. And so about 35% or so of all of the financing for these come from those suite owners and fire pit suite owners. And then the balance comes from our ability to then finance and put small amounts of sale leasebacks on the ground underneath the amphitheater. But these amphitheaters, like in McKinney, it's a $300 million amphitheater to build it's the most seated amphitheater in the history of the world. That we're building there. It opens for the 2026 season. It's beautiful. If you've not seen what we're doing down there, it's incredible. But at the end of the day, you could never make it pencil if it wasn't for really forward-thinking municipalities like the city of McKinney. George Fuller, Mayor George Fuller, he's a forward-thinking mayor. He's a wonderful man. And he, in his way of thinking, he brought the city council along, and next thing you know, they're supporting it. We have great fire pit suite owners down there. Got a good friend in Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman's a Hall of Fame quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, he is.
He and I partnered on 8 as a sponsor at our venues, and then we're building the Aikman clubs, and so. We've just got really good partnerships, good sponsorships, and so at the end of the day, we have a financing strategy that works and works well, and it works good for our public company shareholders.
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of people, before they invest in the stock, they say, well, let me see how much debt this company has.
That's right.
How are you looking on that?
We have very, very little debt.
Yeah.
We, over the last 8 quarters or so, 9 quarters, I guess, we've built a balance sheet of about $181 million. We'll cross $200 million and add $1 billion in 2025.
Was that a B?
With a B, in the net tangible assets. And so, at the end of the day, we are focused on our balance sheet, and as a result of public-private partnerships and mark-to-market valuations, we're gonna cross that number this year.
Now, someone who's just finding out about Venue for the first time, and they say, gosh, how do we get an amphitheater like this in our area? What are the steps you've been doing, and where are you going next?
Yeah, so, right now we're finishing up amphitheaters as we build down through the Tulsa market and Broken Arrow. We'll be in Oklahoma City market. We're building the Dallas-Fort Worth market in McKinney, which is an unbelievable venue. Getting ready to start our construction down in El Paso. It's interesting. El Paso is such an interesting market. People think of El Paso, but they only think of kind of north of the bridge, right? Listen, south of the bridge is just as big of a market. Latin music has exploded.
There you go.
It has exploded.
Yep.
And that market has exploded. And so at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, don't count El Paso out as might be the most profitable venue we build in the next 10 years for that exact reason.
When is that on the schedule to come out?
We're booking it, and it will open in 26. So we're about 15 months out.
Well, let me ask you this. If people stop liking music?
The world ends, right?
Yeah.
If people stop liking music, I think the world just ends. It's the only thing I can think of that is unifying, right? At the end of the day, 2025, again, for the 10th year in a row, it's the #1 leisure activity in the world. In the world is live music. So bigger than baseball, bigger than football, bigger than soccer, worldwide, #1 leisure activity, live music. And it's most unifying. Think about this. Where else can a Republican and a Democrat and an independent all sit together and sing in harmony and be harmonized in whatever they're doing? Live music, right? Everybody, I don't care what if you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, you know the lyrics to Hotel California.
That's right.
And you sit there and sing it together in unison.
Yeah.
And it's one of the only places that happens. Doesn't happen in baseball parks because there's 2 different teams and they hate each other.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen in baseball, 2 teams and they hate each other.
Yeah.
Live music is the only place where everybody there is there for one thing, and that's to be unified in whatever band is playing.
It's amazing how you can have an album, listen to it over and over again at home, but then you go see that band live, and it's a totally different experience. It's so much better, isn't it, live?
No question.
Yeah.
It is. Live music is I tell people this all the time. Live music, and everybody that's watching this they know, it's a vibe. It's a feeling. There is an ambiance about live music you don't get anywhere else. And it's something that you tell stories about. Music, I can play a song, and it takes you back.
Yeah.
You can remember where you were, who you were with, and what you were doing.
Good point.
Because that's what music does. Music creates memories. Live music creates even better memories because you enjoy it with somebody else.
Yeah, and you've got the collective energy of everybody around you. I think
That's right.
resonating. We don't even know the metaphysics on that these days.
No
too,
question.
But I think the group mentality of everybody on the same side.
No question.
I mean, it just lifts everybody's spirits.
Yeah,
up.
no
It's-
question.
and
No
again,
question.
Album
Yeah.
or live? Who
That's
doesn't want
exactly
live?
right.
So my next question is, do you ever see live music going away? Of course, that was
No,
a
never,
softball question.
never. Not in 100
Probably
years.
getting better and better, isn't it?
It does get better. Right?
Yeah.
There's a point, though. I think there's going to be a point where live music even expands. So live music today is usually enjoyed. We're together and we're at a venue. But I see the day coming where live music will be enjoyed virtually. Virtually in the sense that pay-per-view or live music events that's an audio.
Like a 3D room kind of thing?
Like a 3D room.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see that coming someday.
Yeah, well.
We'll see what happens, but
with AI, you never know these
I
days,
think
huh?
with AI, I think
Yeah.
you're going to see that happen. Yep.
Wow, that's
And it's
pretty
exciting.
good. Where'd the name Venue come from?
Well, here's what happened. The company started off, I named it Notes Live. And Notes is obviously music notes, right?
Yep.
And Live is what we do. So Notes Live was the name of the company. I started dealing with the New York Stock Exchange, and we started looking at symbols. And Paul Dorfman said, you know, some of the coolest companies in the world, the name of the company is also the symbol. You know what I mean? And so there's some thought that a lot of companies then put into that. So we started thinking about all of the various symbols, and actually Venue obviously is it's a 5-letter word that we turned into a 4-letter word. And it's just so descriptive of who we are.
It is.
And then the New York Stock Exchange worked with us to make that our symbol.
Did you get a thesaurus out?
Yeah, exactly.
I do that online
Yeah,
nowadays. I find a
exactly.
different word.
Exactly.
If I can't pronounce one word, I go with another
exactly.
one. All right, so then let's talk. We've got a couple minutes here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk business.
Yep.
For someone who's watching this and they are interested in investing,
Yep.
what would you tell them as far as a brand new investor? What kind of steps should they take, and what would you recommend?
Yeah, so, you know, I'd love to have you as a shareholder. You know, our symbol is VENU, traded on the New York Stock Exchange. I would love to have you as a shareholder. We are aggressively disrupting the venue space. We are well capitalized. We have strong shareholder base and support. And I am committed to building a balance sheet and a P&L. So at the end of the day, you would be investing in a space, the music space, the live music space, that is exploding. Never been a time in history where the demand of tickets has been higher than it is today, and there's never been a time in history where the supply of new artists is higher than it is today. So here you've got an industry with the high demand, high supply. We are the exchange. We are where fans and artists meet, and nobody is doing it better than we are.
Symbol's Venue Live, by the way.
Yep.
Great symbol.
Yep.
Venue
Yep.
Live.
Yep.
Now, somebody who wants to invest in one of the new places you're building, is that possible for someone to have a stake in the next amphitheater?
Absolutely, and we have a great team that does that. Go to our website, venue.live, as Coach said, and when you go there, you can click on investing, and you can look at all of the venues that we're building any place in the United States, and it will give you information on that. You can also come to our offices, whether here or in Dallas or wherever, and use virtual reality to actually sit in any of our venues, or buy a ticket and come out to the Ford Amphitheater this summer and catch a great show.
I saw the Steve Miller Band last year. Really good band.
Steve Miller Band was a great show we had this year, but we had just so many great shows. It's a fun place.
So someone should come and look at it, because you can actually invest in one of the VIP fire pit
That's right.
spaces, right?
Yep.
Right, and
Yep.
is that a lifetime ownership when you
It
invest?
is lifetime ownership. And
Wow,
I tell
that's
people
amazing.
this all the
Yeah.
time too. At the end of the day, the best way to understand what we do is to experience what we do. And the best way to experience what we do is come sit in my suite at the Ford Amphitheater.
I did.
Yeah, you
Awesome
did.
place,
Dang
awesome
right
place.
you did. Yeah.
J.W. Roth, folks, and the symbol is venue, and then the website venue.live.
Venue.live. Love to have you as a shareholder.
Always great
Coach,
to see you.
thank you.
Yes. See you later, folks.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Coach Pete Deruta, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there.
Excited to dive into this. You have received the book, the big book on retirement. Maybe you've started reading it. Well, we are here. I'm Thomas Lipscomb. We're here with best-selling author Coach Pete Deruta, who wrote this awesome book. And I thought maybe for this first little dive through the book, we could talk about why you wrote it. But folks, just in case you're wondering, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through this book chapter by chapter and getting a little bit of a, let's call it behind the scenes of the writing process, the intentions behind it, all that jazz.
This is book number 18,
18
that I've written.
yes.
And you know what happens a lot of times? I know it happens. People have given me books before.
Yep.
Somebody gives you a book, maybe a couple books you have that you wanted to read. You haven't read them yet, so you say, I'll read this sometime.
Sure.
It gets put on the bookcase,
Yep.
and then it gets forgotten.
Yep.
So these are really good tools and techniques in this book. We're going to go through every chapter telling you why it's important, but you can really act on these tips and tools
You can.
to get a better retirement. So that's why we wrote it. I didn't write it just to write a book. I've got plenty of books. I don't need any more books. But we wrote this for a very important purpose, and that's so you could understand how to really plan your own retirement.
It's true. And you've divided it into 5 key sections. You have game theory, tactics, offense, defense, and the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
I love how you made this analogy. You call it the big book on retirement, but you've made this great sports analogy here where you're kind of taking every element and comparing retirement in that way.
Well, there's a big game every year. We can't call it. It's a football championship. If you say the name, you have to pay the NFL.
I like
guess.
Campbell's tomato soup, Coach.
Super.
It's super.
Yeah. So, but we all watch it.
Yes.
And the commercials charge a lot of money for the commercials.
Oh, yes,
but
they're so good.
It's the same theory, though. It's 2 teams going against each other. Sometimes you can tell one team was more prepared than the other.
No doubt.
We want you to be that team that's prepared to play offense all the way through retirement. In other words, doing what you want to do on your terms. And that's why I wrote the book. So I hope you enjoy it. We're going to tell you why each chapter is important, but skim through it. Find some chapters that interest you. If you have any questions or if you want your own plan done, we're always available to do that. That golden ticket you have there, you got with the book, will show you how to get that appointment at no
Yes.
cost and put you in control of retirement. So it's all about having that game plan and mastering it and putting you in control. And that's what we're going to do with the book. We're going to tell you about each chapter, how each chapter can benefit you as well. Coming up.
Pensions and Social Security are guaranteed income streams for retirees. Unfortunately, pensions are a thing of the past, and Social Security may not cover all of your expenses. However, there's another strategy that can help. Dating back to ancient Rome, annuities are a savings vehicle that have helped many people on the road to retirement. In modern times, they provide a conservative savings strategy that might be right for you.
Quite simply, an annuity is a savings account offered from an insurance company. Now, there's some bells and whistles, and there's some things you need to know before you get into an annuity. Annuities are there for you for retirement. That's what annuities were designed for.
There are 3 main types of annuities: variable, fixed, and fixed indexed. They have some important differences, each carving out their potential place in a retirement plan.
First one is a variable annuity, which in my humble opinion is one of the worst financial instruments ever designed. Why? Because first of all, it doesn't provide you with safe money. Unless you start tacking on riders and this and that, and every time you add something on with a variable annuity, you start basically pushing up the cost. On average, the average variable annuity that I've seen in my lifetime has been with fees of 3.5%.
Variable annuities are tied to an index or a stock market or a mutual fund type account where your money can go up, but it can also go down. So to me, a variable annuity shouldn't even be considered in the annuity world, because to me, annuity means safety and making you have that financial confidence all the way through retirement.
Then there's also your fixed annuity, which is kind of like a CD on steroids, generally 3, 5, 7 years.
5%, 5 years. At the end of 5 years, the term's up. You either take your money and go home with it, or you take your money and renew it again. So that's cool. Then we have a fixed indexed annuity. Now your money is not in the market, but it's tied to an index that is market driven. So the beauty here, since you're not in the market, you never lose money. The market goes down, you get a 0 that year. The market goes up, you share in the gain. Market goes down, you get a 0. You see, it's a lot easier to recover from a down market if you had a 0 and not a negative 30, 40, or 50. And a lot of people have experienced the negative 30, 40, or 50 right before they were going to retire, and they couldn't retire.
So which, if any of these strategies, are right for you? They come with some distinct advantages and disadvantages over other retirement savings vehicles.
Now, the disadvantages, it does not make as much as what the market does. It's a little bit off on the market. Where if the market on average is 8 to 10% over the past 100 years, an index annuity is running 5 to 7%. So you do give up a little bit of earnings on that. Actually, I don't look at it as being tied down. I look at it as being protected.
My period of time is a lifetime income, so we use these for retirement. It is, in effect, a pension account. The minute you retire or decide you want to start taking money, you get a lifetime income you can never outlive, even if your balance goes to zero. You pass away, your spouse continues to get that same income until they pass away. Both of you pass away, whatever balance is in there goes on to the next of kin or wherever you decide to go, churches, charities, wherever you want. In other words, you do not lose your money when you die. The old annuities of the past, the minute you died, the money went into the insurance company's pocket. Common misconception these days that Wall Street likes to push, because if they can get you not to put money in an annuity, they keep it under their management at risk. They make a lot more money in fees, expenses, and commissions, whereas you should have some of your money in a place where there's no fees, no financial termites, we call them, fees, risk, and commissions, and give you that lifetime income that you and your family deserve.
It's important to get the facts straight about all the different planning strategies at your disposal. That's why you should work with an independent fiduciary advisor. Coach Pete and the team at Capital Financial can help you navigate the financial world to get you where you want to be in retirement. Take advantage of the no-cost, no-obligation financial review to understand the ins and outs of your retirement plan. A customized plan based on your wants and needs. Contact us today. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more retirement help.
What do you think is the number one tech aspect that's going to change the way everyone listening does what they do in the next 5 years?
You know, it's been in the news so much, but quite frankly, I don't think people take it as seriously as they should, and that is AI. And AI has, since its introduction into the marketplace, it's just made huge leaps and bounds. But what most people don't realize is it's been in development, in serious development, for 40 years. Billions of people are using it a day. It gets really sophisticated really fast across cultures, and it is going to radically change our landscape in the next 5 years. A lot of jobs that are done today simply aren't going to exist in 5 years.
Yeah, that's so. What makes you happiest about this, and then what makes you saddest, and what scares you the most?
So the happy thing to me is it's called artificial intelligence, and I really wish that they would rename it to assistive intelligence. I use it as an assistant, and it's an assistant that I have to train, I have to correct, I have to review what the assistant gives me. And as long as you interact with this artificial intelligence platform, whichever one you want to talk about, in that capacity, it makes me very happy because it lets me get easily 200 to 300% more done a day than I do without it. Status is that I do believe, even though I'm telling you where it's going to go in 5 years or so, I think it's oversold today. But you're starting to see AI in everything. And AI certainly has its place. It has its place in a lot of devices. You know, some of the things that we might talk about, like lawnmowers, that were introduced at CES this year. You roll the lawnmower out, it gets the weather forecast, and it might say, you know what, I'm going to put off mowing the lawn until 3 o'clock because it's supposed to rain.
That sounds like I used to do, but I just put it off for a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't go back out to do it.
Yeah, right.
and you might say, hey, there's HOA rules that only allow us to mow, between 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning, and we can't do it on Sundays. That's off limits. So it could ask you some questions like that, and it could learn. And then, by the way, if it happens to be mowing your lawn for you and it's geo-fenced, because it will do that, and it finds something peculiar in your yard that you weren't expecting, well, not only will it document it, it'll mow around it, and, if it could do something to take care of the situation, it will, but otherwise, at least it notifies you there's a problem. Now, for remote homeowners, this is great, because after it mows your lawn, it goes back and parks in the recharging station, and it's ready to go again.
Hey, all right, so what is the scariest thing to you about AI going forward?
The scariest thing to me about AI is when it gets into certain applications that it shouldn't be in. and that there's nobody checking it or verifying it. For people that don't recognize that it's not perfect, it gets you in a lot of trouble. In fact, there's been attorneys, because quite frankly, AI today is great for law, but there's been attorneys that have used it in brief, and it's made up information that's just not correct.
Oof.
And it puts it in a brief, and let me tell you, a judge is not very happy when that happens.
What do you think is going to be in the, let's say in 2 years from now, what from CES is going to be almost a household item, do you think?
Smart city technology integrating with smart cars. We're seeing road signs that automatically update based on road conditions, accidents, and things like that. They start to detect backups, and they reroute traffic automatically. But now with smart cars, you're getting those messages because it knows your route. In fact, I've got a 2026 model now, and I don't even have to tell it when I'm heading home. It knows, it updates the route if there's any problems, and it gives me my ETA. So now when my wife calls and says, when are you going to be home? I could say, 13 minutes. But we are also going to see traffic lights get smaller or be removed overall. And that's where we're going to start to see technology migrated into vehicles that are predictive as cars enter intersections. They know what cars are coming what direction, and literally they're going to thread those cars together. And so if you happen to think about traffic moving without having to stop, it changes fuel mileage issues, pollution, gets you from your point A to point B more quickly. But I'll tell you what, first time we do that,
whew,
I don't know how I'm going to feel about that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to look.
We are going to see driver-based cars go away. And a lot of people don't believe that, but it's the insurance companies that are pushing it. They are 100 times better at driving and having fewer accidents than the best human that they could compare to. Now, you tell me what that does to insurance companies and everything else. It will be here.
But to me, insurance companies then should charge 100 times less, but they won't.
Exactly.
Because I don't know why they're mouthing off, because they make a fortune charging people all sorts of rates. When like if my neighbor has a wreck, I get charged more. That kind of thing.
That's exactly right.
So to me, they better be careful what they wish for. They're going to do that FAFO kind of stuff, and they're going to be out of business when no one's having any wrecks.
In addition to that, what we're going to start to see is shared vehicle services, where when you want to go somewhere, it shows up and takes you there, and then it drops you off and goes and gets somebody else. So you won't have to really wait. But that's not that far down the road either.
It's almost, it sounds cool, and it's great for technology in the future and all that, but I kind of like the freedom of doing what I want to do whenever I want to do it. I think we're going to have to overcome that with the more of a automated and structured society going forward, it looks like.
Well, the technologists have been, this is one of the issues that technologists and psychologists have been analyzing. But yeah, there are shifts like that are going to occur. But right now, the thinking is it's going to open you up to some things that you've always wanted to do, but you didn't have the time to do.
Yeah, you're right.
And so, like you said, you might want to cruise around and listen to tunes. Well, now maybe you want to cruise around and just look at the sunset driving down the beach or going through the mountains or in the countryside, where you're not driving and you don't have to pay attention to the road. Guess what? Now you could have the bottle of wine open, right? Because there's no more open container restrictions. So they've been printing food, 3D printed food, for a while now. And a lot of critics are saying, you know what? They've gotten to the point that you really can't tell the difference. So now they're starting to print skin, for example. So if you've got a bad burn or something, you need a skin graft, no problem. Blood vessels from your own DNA technology. They are working on right now, and they think they're less than a few years away from heart and kidney. Yeah, that is probably, to me, one of the most exciting things that really has been progressing well and was a big hit at CES this year.
Longevity will go up tremendously if you just print a new heart out instead of getting a pacemaker or anything like that. Just put a new one in. That's yours, and it won't be rejected because your body will think it's the same one. All right, let's talk about the robotics real quick. What are you thinking there?
So we are starting to see humanoid robotics, and the real progress has come out of Japan. Japan has a major healthcare issue with older folks. And one of the things that they found out pretty quickly was the robots did a much better job with the care than the humans did, because the patient can be as grouchy, as insulting, or anything else as they wanted to be, and the robot doesn't have an emotional response, right?
I hear you.
Yeah.
But what they found was, in order to get the human to engage with the robot, they had to put a face on the robot. And the more human-like they made the face, the more humans engaged with it. Well, it got to the point, even in its infancy, with faces that sort of looked human, they weren't great, that the healthcare patients wanted the robots instead of the humans. And you've got robots that are lifting 600, 1,000 pounds, moving it around in a warehouse type setting. Move over to the next booth, and they've got an exoskeleton that you could strap on for people that are quadriplegic or paraplegic that does the brain or eye connection to be assistive technology and allow you to move around without a wheelchair or anything like that.
Hollywood is ahead of science, or science is ahead of Hollywood. It's like that kind of thing. Isn't it?
Science follows Hollywood sometimes. But by the
It
way,
does,
those
yeah.
things were all available and demonstrated at the ES this year. So
So what's the price on something like if you wanted one of those robots to like lift weight, like move stuff for you and work in a warehouse? I guess like 30,000.
well, it really varies. They start at the
Okay.
low end, about $6,000 to $10,000 for the home assistive robots that do your house cleaning and can do some cooking and things like that. So low end there, but they'll go up to well over $100,000 depending on what you want. And the sex technology at CES has actually become about 20% of the CES floor these days.
They say sex sells, man. I'm telling you.
It's
You know, I'd
become
like
big
a
technology.
Emeril Lagasse chef robot, and he'd like say "bam" and then bring my food to me. You know, like remember,
Right.
or Chef Ramsay one that's cussing in the kitchen and bringing you good food. Beef Wellington.
Go program it any way you want to.
It's just amazing, man. You know, it's also worrisome at the same time because a lot of careers are in jeopardy now when these robots can do such a great job. And all you do is, I guess, how long do you have to plug them in, or how long does like one of these robots go without a charge, and how long does it take to charge them?
Coach Pete, oh man, I'm shaking my head now. No, they decide when they need to be charged based on what they see the workload to be, and they take the break, if you will, and go charge themselves.
Wow. Okay.
Now, do they need to do a fast charge, or can they shut down for the night because you're not going to need them for the next 4 to 6 to 12 hours?
So if they charge too fast, does it become a smoking break?
Smoky break.
It's well good. That's a good one. I like that.
Well, man, we're going down all sorts of rabbit holes here with all this stuff. It's amazing. It really is amazing. We're in a amazing time of basically history when you think about it. It's, I mean, gosh, they'll talk about this like they did the Roman ages 3,000 years from now, I think, if we're still around.
I agree. And some of us
Yeah,
may be.
I can't imagine trying to think. We talk in here, really, we talk short term, maybe 5 to 10 years. I
Right.
can't imagine where this is in 25 to 30 years. I really can't. It's progressing faster than the human imagination can really keep up with it.
Back in the day, a robot would just like on Lost in Space, warning, Mr., that kind of thing. But now the robots are more agile than we are. Crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, they've improved that face technology like we were talking about with recognizing emotions, being able to have more facial emotions with the eyes, the mouth, everything. And, they've gotten to the point where if you just do a quick glance and passing, you won't know that it's a robot. They're that good.
But remember, there was a movie probably about 25 or 30 years ago, Michael Keaton. It was Duplicity or something, where he invented like 5 or 6 robots that looked just like him. So basically, he just sat home and he sent them out to work and do all the hard stuff, and he took all the credit, made all the money. And then the robots started getting mad at him, though. They started getting smart on him. You remember that movie?
Ganging up on him, yep.
What if we could just invent a bunch of Coach Pete's and send them out all over the place?
I only have one question.
Yes,
Is the
sir.
world ready for that?
Welcome on in. This is Women and Money. Jackie Selby. I have the beautiful Jana Asplund and Amanda Daughtry. Hey. And of course, the one and the only Coach Pete DeRuda. Hey,
How you
Coach
doing?
Pete.
Good to see you guys.
How are you?
This is going to be fun because we did one of these about 6 or 7 years ago, Women and Money, but times have changed. And that was
haven't they?
pre-COVID. So after COVID, things have really changed. So I thought it'd be a good time to get my all-star cast together.
All right.
And let's have a conversation. If you're a woman watching, this would be good for you. It's good because I know that life gets in the way a lot of times, and we shift the burden and responsibility to planning for money to the other spouse a lot of times. Not the best thing, because we need to know what's going on.
So true.
If you watch this series, and we've got some handouts for you too. If you like it, well, there's numbers on the screen. You can get more information. But if you can watch this series and have a pretty good mastery of what we're talking about, you'll be all set in retirement. Or on the way to or through life, but you'll have a good retirement too.
Sure.
Yep.
And I think this is a fun representation of generational ladies here. We have, maybe, is it okay to say Amanda might be the youngest gal?
No, I'm 40.
Okay. Maybe I messed this up.
No,
Janice in the middle.
Janet's in the middle.
And then I'm the elder gal here on the
And
set.
I'm not mentioning anything about any ages right here now. I'll keep
I know
myself
we
out of
would be
trouble.
like,
Coach Pete
no,
knows how
we're
to
not
stay out of
doing
trouble.
this. But I feel like we're at different stages in our
We are.
lives. Don't you
Yeah.
feel like?
We definitely are. It was so funny when you said we started. I was in the conversation, the original one, 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, I was still in my 30s. So that'll give you a hint.
Oh.
But also, I had a 2-year-old.
Yep.
And so as you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, just personally, how much has changed for me in 6 years? 6 years, I didn't pay as much attention to what you were saying because I was in the throes of it like you are. I was in the trenches. Every day was hard, and I was just trying to get through it because I had 2 little kids and a full-time job. It's still hard. I'm not quite in the trenches. But today, I have probably way different questions than I would have had 6 years ago.
Well, look at this. Between 2018 and 2023, women's wealth has risen 51%. That's from a
love
survey
that.
by McKinsey. So that's, global wealth only rose 43%. So women are out wealthying. Is that a word?
Yeah, out earning.
But unfortunately, we're trusting the wrong people to make the decisions or to be the decision maker. So it's okay to have somebody in the family be the decision maker, but everyone in the family needs to know what's going on.
Yeah, and women are generally the caregiver, let's be honest. And we're also planning for the future for, let's say, my grandparents or my dad, or where are they going to live? Are they going to live with us? And so now we go out of the little kid stage, which I'm in right now because I have a 3-year-old, and then I'm going into my dad's going into a rest home type stage. So it's like, boom, it all just continuously hits you. So how do we stay disciplined in this type of environment to continue to save?
Yeah.
Do you find it interesting when folks come to meet at Capitol that it's maybe just the man who kind of takes the lead and the woman fades to the background on the decisions or the explanation?
That happens more than it should. And then later on, sometimes the lady may have questions, but they're overlooked by the man sometimes. And he said, it's okay, we're going to be fine. I want to make sure both spouses are fine before we go forward and I sign off on a plan. Because if it doesn't make sense to one, it shouldn't make sense to either.
Well, it's a lot of information. And
There is.
like Amanda said, we're used to thinking about other things as women. So,
Well, part one is you need to find somebody you can trust and work with. And
that's for sure.
Whether it be a man or a woman or a team of people. We have a team here. We have men and women on our team. But and so we don't tell someone you can't meet. If you want to meet with a woman only, we can set you up with a woman only to meet with. I just think it's better to get everyone's perspective. We do a team philosophy here, so you'll meet with one person or a team of people, but then the whole team gets together and works on your plan. So,
Team
makes
and a
sense.
plan.
Yeah, because so we do team here, so it's hard for me to understand. Like you said, when the man and woman will come in and the man asks all the questions and basically the woman feels like she's not even allowed to talk. That
That's
shouldn't be that way.
annoying.
Because as a man,
It is.
you see that.
All the time.
As a man, I know you guys are gonna outlive us.
Yeah.
And my wife is 7 years younger than me, and usually you guys outlive us by 7 years. So my wife has a pretty good deck of cards in her hand.
Well, especially when you're bringing a significant paycheck to the table.
Yes.
It's kind of like, where's my voice? I want to be heard. How are we investing? I want to diversify. I want to put my funds in different places. And the man's like, no, we should do this. So I think that when you have someone like you in place, someone like a Capital Financial Advisory Group, to sit down and say, hey, this is really the smartest thing to do. This is really the smartest thing to do. And that kind of takes the tension out of all of the planning, I think.
The best plan is one where you have a coach who's laid out the big game plan. So I'm the financial coach, lay out the big game plan, but you're the quarterback. And you have 2 quarterbacks. You have the male and the female, the husband and wife. And so you guys are the ultimate ones making the plays.
Yeah.
I've helped you design the playbook. It's up to you to run them the right way. And unfortunately, a lot of times, the man takes over and throws the playbook away for the woman, right? So we want to make sure both of you have the same playbook.
I think sometimes it's really uncomfortable to take the first step, though, because you either show up to a situation, whether you're buying a car or a house or coming here, and they immediately look at the husband or
That's
the male
true.
partner. You know, if the two of us are sitting there and they have the whole conversation with my husband, and I want to, that really trips my trigger because
Yeah.
I want to say, there are two people contributing to this household income.
Yep.
You either get that, or you're so intimidated you don't really know you don't want to look dumb.
Yep.
And so you really hesitate to make that first step because I don't want to look dumb. I am a feminist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me tell you from the guy's side why and I see it too. I see the bad side too. I see what happens. I see when the guy just concentrates all on the guy, like the guys are just having chit-chatting about fishing and all that and golf.
Right, and here
they're
we are.
basically not paying attention to the woman. The other side says that
It's true.
True.
if you are there with your husband, Eric, and I look at you too much, Eric might get mad at me. And so you might start thinking that I'm, trying to kick
Never
you under the table.
considered that.
So
Yeah.
so that's what goes through my head because I don't want the husband thinking I'm hitting on his wife. In other words, so we have to be careful on that too. So as a guy, but I like to get both husband and wife involved, and I make sure to ask questions of both of them.
Yes.
And then when the husband answers, I say, well, how does that make you feel, Jana? And that's something that's overlooked a lot of times.
Sure.
How does it make you feel? And what do you want to feel in retirement? So these are all big questions that we have to factor in when we're putting together the proper plan.
You don't mind if we start a few questions here, Coach?
I love questions.
Okay, good. Does it surprise you that women are surpassing in the wealth area?
I hope not many guys are watching. No, it doesn't surprise me at all. Women are very smart when it comes to money, and matter of fact, make better decisions than men many times. There went my man card.
Right. Uh-oh. Better turn it in. But
No, women
Yeah.
are on top of things a lot of times and want to learn, but a lot of times they're sheltered from it and not by their choice. Jana, in your life, I mean, now you're busy. You're both you
Incredibly
guys are
busy.
busy
We're
women.
so
Like all
busy.
three of you are busy working women. Back in the day, my mom took some time off from work back when she had three boys. I was the first one, but then she had to go right back to work because you have to make money.
Yeah.
And so, but she was more worried about bringing my brothers and I up and working than she was about having to manage the household. And my dad had a computer store and he was a college professor. So both of them were busy. And many times you felt like as a kid, we didn't have any money. It is because we didn't have much money. But my mom and dad made it, somehow got all three boys through college and succeeded. But lately, my dad's passed away now, but luckily I've been able to help mom navigate and the situation. And I had a book called I have a book called The Little Green Book of Life. And
Yes.
and it's 100 pages of interactive questions and answers so you can write down where your life insurance is, where your money is, where your passwords are, your obituary. And Dad did fill some of that out, so it made it a whole lot easier. So if you'd like to get a copy of that Little Green Book of Life, it's on Amazon. Just look up Little Green Book of Life on Amazon.
I've given it to everybody in my family.
Yes.
The thing I like about it is, ladies, we are going to inherit a whole bunch of money from our parents.
Yes,
Are we?
Yes.
Hopefully.
And you know how Coach Pete was talking about his wife is 7 years younger, right? So maybe you might pass first. We don't know. But anyway, so she's going to get his money. And then she's going to distribute that money to the children. So think about the impact of that.
Generational wealth.
And I have
Yes.
life insurance that's going to give her tax-free money, too, to do stuff with.
Oh.
So tax-free,
Yes.
that means get out of the picture, Uncle Sam. You're not invited to this party.
You have to call Coach Pete for this.
But
This
a
is
lot of
amazing.
Step into my office.
Yeah,
I'll
a lot
see
of
what's
people
happening.
might be changing their mind on how they're going to plan in the long term because of that. They're thinking
Yes.
down the line, like, I might inherit my husband's parents' home, or he might inherit this, or we might. So how does that impact how we plan long term? And I think if
ma'am.
women start thinking about that earlier, that's the goal, is to get them to one up them, to raise them up, say, hey, you need to start thinking about this in your 20s and your 30s, and don't depend on other people that aren't doing it to give you advice on it. You got to depend on somebody like Coach.
Yeah, and a final point before we move on to the next segment.
Sure.
Because we're living longer. Men are living longer too, but women, you guys are living a long time.
Yeah.
We need to make sure we have income in retirement that's going to last the rest of our lifetime, not just for the first 10, 15, 20 years, but forever, because you could live to be 120. You could be living to 130, Jana. You never know. And so, but what if your money ran out at 83? What's happening then? So we set up guaranteed lifetime income plans. I'm a retirement income certified professional. RICP is the designation from the American College. I am trained to make sure people do not run out of money in retirement and have lifetime income that could increase, never decrease all the way through their life. And check this out. When you start getting that income, let's say it's a husband starts getting the income and he passed away, you continue to get that same income all your life too. So it never goes away for both spouses. So
what I'm talking
if you're
about.
curious about that, you see the number on the screen, give us a call. We'll set up a time where we can diagram out where you are today and see where we could be tomorrow for you, where you could have a worry-free tomorrow.
Great. That's the first step to take, and we will be right back with some psychology of money and a little bit more fun here on Women and Money.
Hey everybody, it's Coach Pete with Matt Scuderi. Matt, thanks for coming today, by the way, appearing here. We're going to go over 9 ways to protect your nest egg, which we have them golden eggs because every single portion of your portfolio, to me, should be treated as gold. What do you think, Matt? There's a lot of people making mistakes out there in the financial world, so we're going to do this very informal type seminar here in the form of a webinar. We call it info series, just to educate you on 9 things you need to be paying attention to. We've jotted down some notes here to make sure that we stay on track, and we're going to try to do this in 30 minutes or less for you, so it's not going to be a long one. If you have more advanced questions, you see the chat button there. It's always going to be available if you have a question for us. If you'd like to request a meeting, because you're attending this info series, there's no fee or obligation if you'd like to have your questions answered or request a meeting with one of our professionals, either in person or on the phone or on Zoom. It's amazing what we can do these days.
Yeah.
I used to, back in the 90s, I'd get in my car and go to see people at their kitchen table. And so we're available for that too, by the way. Never had more fun than visiting people at their kitchen table and going over things. And I ate real good too, by the way. And sometimes I'd be there during dinner time. But number 1, and these are things we need to identify, taxation.
Yes.
Protecting your retirement from tax burdens. Matt, you talk to folks every day. Are taxes a worry for folks?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the number 1 question just about every single time.
Yeah, especially when we talk about withdrawing money at retirement time, because that's when we figure out the real tax time bombs we have.
Oh, yeah.
Many people, many of you watching right now, probably have a lot of your money in 401ks, 403bs, TSAs or tax sheltered annuities or whatever, like different things out there. And some of them have more tax advantages than others. And then there's something called a Roth IRA. We're going to talk about a Roth later on here in this series. But just knowing what the taxation is going to be on your assets before you start taking it out, that's a good way to have a good plan. Because if you're not aware of the taxation, and how much you're going to lose for taxation, you get to retirement, you lose a lot of money, you don't have enough to pay the bills. Matt, very important to have over and above what we need for the bills, because we want to have fun during retirement, and one of the main reasons we can do that is to minimize taxation.
Absolutely, and I think kind of to your point is we want to make sure that we know exactly what the tax brackets are now.
Yep.
And always, of course, look into the future so we can plan accordingly.
We call that tax planning. So we look ahead. I mean, no one knows what the rules are going to be in the future, but we know about what they're going to be. Like we know the Roth IRA builds tax-free and comes out tax-free. Very important, by the way.
Yes.
Many of you watching probably have never had the Roth correctly explained to you, because that's why you don't have it. There's a lot of people that say, I wish I would have known about the Roth.
Yes.
Well, the Roth has been around since the turn of the, well, I call it the turn of the century now, right before the year 2000. So it hasn't been around that long, but it's been around over almost 25 years now. So why haven't the financial institutions done a better job explaining that to folks?
You know, they just recently started allowing it to be an option in 401ks.
Yeah, very important. So if you have a 401k, make sure you take advantage of your Roth option in there for some of your money. Now, here's what hunters we call this. This is safeguarding your retirement assets for what happens when you're not going to be here anymore. So we all want to leave our assets to our children or grandchildren, want to make sure they get left in the right way, want to make sure what we leave to them actually gets to them. Matt, what happens in between when people die sometimes and the money passing on? Some bad things do happen, don't they?
Yes, it can just get tied up, and now that's just causing headaches for your family.
Yeah, or you could get sued. So, a delivery man could be coming up your stairs at your house, fall down, sues you because you're in a nice house, maybe not even a nice house. They just sue you because they want to sue you, and they take all your assets. They find out you have some retirement money. They can sometimes get to your retirement money. So you need an umbrella policy. So make sure you talk to your insurance agent who sells you your car insurance and your home insurance, and make sure that you say, how much is an umbrella policy for $1 or $2 or $3 million? What an umbrella policy does, if somebody sues you, the umbrella policy will kick in and protect you. Do not tell anyone if you have an umbrella policy, because they will sue you to that amount. So be very careful on that. But umbrella policy is very important. Utilizing the proper insurance. Also, having proper life insurance in place can give a tax-free asset to your children and grandchildren that you don't have to worry about, that's not going to be lost in the stock market. If, like, let's say we have a market crash a couple years before you pass away, and half your money disappears and then you die.
Right.
Well, if you would have a life insurance policy, it would help make up for those losses in a tax-free manner.
Yeah.
How many questions do you think you get a week about life insurance? Probably not enough.
Not too many, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think it's mainly because most people don't realize the certain tax-free aspects of it.
Oh, man, it's amazing. Now, if we go over $10 million or more in life insurance, we need a special life insurance trust called an ILIT.
Right.
But for most of the folks watching this, $5 million, $6 million, $7 million, very, very affordable. And we're going to tell you later on how the new life insurance policies let you use the death benefit while you're here to pay for your long-term care stay. So stay tuned for that. That's very important.
Yep.
But if you have any questions about life insurance, about tax-free passing of assets, how to make sure you have that proper division of your money and in between taxable and tax-free and tax-deferred assets, and what are those three qualifications? A lot of folks don't understand taxable, tax-deferred, tax-free. We'll go through all three of those for you if you would like to do that in person, customized to your own portfolio, because it's one thing for us to talk about it here. It's another thing for people to really see it with their own eyes. So very important to make sure you understand there are people. Here's another thing. I've had people for nursing home protection. They've met with certain people who have advised them to delist all their assets and list them in their children's name instead, or their grandchildren's name. So you say, well, then you can qualify for Medicaid because you don't have any assets anymore. The problem is you have a lot of money. You've retitled it into your children and grandchildren. Now the government knows you do this too, so they have a look back. It said, so if you do it within 5 years, they'll find it. But let's say you do it, and you're not worried about the government finding out or whatever, and you leave your assets to your daughter. And your daughter is getting ready to get married, and then she gets married, and then they get a divorce. She gets half. She gets all your money, but the spouse, which is the former spouse, takes half your money and leaves. Let's say that your daughter gets in a wreck, rear ends somebody. It's all her fault. She was on her cell phone or whatever. Maybe she'd been drinking or whatever. So big lawsuits happen. Yeah. And she gets sued for all the money that you gave her retitled in her name that's really your money. She loses all that money. So there's a lot of drawbacks to retitling assets. Be very careful on that. You've heard probably these stories too, right?
Oh, yeah. All time.
Yeah. Number 3 now, we're going to move right into nursing home disasters and make sure that we plan ahead for this. Because we're going to have a graphic here, Matt. Let's look at this graphic right here on screen. The annual cost of nursing homes has gone way up. So look at how far it's gone up. So back in 2014, now this is for a semi-private room, about $75,000 a year. Now, to me, I've worked all my life. Now I have to go to a nursing home. Do I want to be a roommate again? I had a roommate in college. I didn't really like that too much. But look, now we're way over $100,000 for a semi-private room, and that's per year. So what I advise is look at long-term care insurance. Now, I've been licensed to offer long-term care insurance for about 30 years. 30 years. Guess how many long-term care policies I've written in 30 years?
Not enough.
0. Not a single one. You know why? A lot of people say, Coach, I need long-term care. I said, yeah, but let's look at this contract. The contract can go away once you need it. They can raise your rates and kick you out right when you need it. So you pay all these years and they take the money, they take the policy away because you can't afford it anymore. So the only way that I've advised, and I've done a lot of these, and I've done one for myself, is to get a special life insurance policy that lets you use a death benefit while you're here. It's called a living benefit rider. They add it on your policy. Many times, folks, it doesn't cost you any more if you have a current policy right now, and it doesn't have that on there. You can get the brand new policy without it costing you a penny, because life insurance rates have gone down over the years. So you can get a better policy many times that has the long-term care option where you can use the money from the long-term care policy to pay for that long-term care. I mean, how good is that? That takes a peace of mind away, and life insurance never goes away. It's one of the only products known to man, to me, that does what it says. If you die, it pays your death benefit to your folks, tax-free. Tax-free, big thing. If you're living, it gives you some of the death benefit to pay for your long-term care stay, tax-free. And so it doesn't put you in a tax situation.
If you also end up not needing the long-term care coverage, you still have the ability to reach in and grab more.
Yeah, it turns into life insurance. And you also can live on some of it. If you set it up correctly, you can have a tax-free retirement account. We can show you how to do that too. So there's no better product than a life insurance product. But there's so many different companies, and many of them aren't good. So make sure before you get one of these, you make sure you get the best. These are A+ rated companies. Don't go for these B companies, folks. Our policy here at our company, we never recommend anything below A-. We want to make sure the company's there when you need it the most. This is the best known solution to the long-term care dilemma that I know. All right, so very important to make sure that you understand exactly what's going on in the financial world, and when we have new policies like this, life insurance policy, Matt, back in the day, life insurance was a lot more expensive than it is today because we're living longer, and they've adjusted the rates downward. So you may be in a policy now that not only does it not have that long-term care protection, but it's costing you more than it should.
Too much.
So let's at least analyze, do a review. I've met with so many people over the years who bring their policies in. They didn't really understand what they had. Had one person thought they had a permanent policy. It was a term policy. So if you have a term policy, it'll pay a death benefit within a certain term. It's not a bad thing. It's affordable. It doesn't cost much, but you're only renting the insurance.
Right.
Because at the end of the period, you have to requalify many times, and you have to pay more premium because you're getting older, and insurance companies know the older you get, the closer you are to not being here anymore. So again, get a permanent policy as early as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, at your age, Matt, it's probably very, very cheap.
Yes.
I'm 58. It's a little bit more expensive, but you know the best equity you have when we're talking about life insurance is your health. You may not be able to qualify tomorrow if something happens. So that's why we want to get it and put it away and forget about it, because it's there for you when you need it the most.
Yeah.
You can also borrow against your life insurance policy's cash value down the road, but we don't encourage that unless you really need it. But there are a lot of great strategies out there. Well, you can be your own banker, basically. But make sure you get the right policy, folks. If you have a question about that, or if you'd like to get a quote, or see what it could mean for you and your family, to take that worry out of not only living through retirement, but living with the health scares now. You don't worry. If you have to go to a long-term care policy, you can pick a better long-term care facility. You can pick the best place, because now you have almost unlimited cash flow when you think about it from some of these policies. So find out about that. Very, very important.
Coach, we've got some questions from listeners. We're going to spring them on you. I hope it's okay.
Oh, question. Okay, good. Awesome. Oh, and by the way, all you have to do to have that question answered is to see that chat button there on the screen. Type your question in. You can put your name if you want, if you don't have to, and we'll answer it for you.
This one's interesting. They say they have a lot of assets but no retirement income. Say they're a little bit worried about that. What could they do?
So a lot of assets. See this a lot, but no income. Yeah. Because the 401k, the 403b, most of them I've seen don't show you what you could get income-wise from that policy or for that amount you built up, and it sure doesn't show you that it could be guaranteed for the rest of your life.
Right.
So there are ways to have proper income planning done. You've done a great job building that money up. Let's make sure you don't lose it, number one, from a market catastrophe. But number two, once we get to retirement, Matt, let's make sure we know with certainty what we can take out per year and never run out of money.
Right.
When I say never, I mean you have 100% certainty of never running out of money.
Absolutely.
When we do the Wall Street models, there's something called the Monte Carlo simulation. It basically says you've got all this money in the stock market, leave it there, so we can keep making fees on you, basically.
Yeah.
Leave it there, and then you can start taking out a certain percent, sometimes they say 4% of this money each year, and you've got about a 92% chance of not outliving that money. Now, Matt, what's the zinger in that whole phrase? 92%. It has to be 100%, folks, or we, as a fiduciary planning firm, we can't recommend it.
Right.
So that isn't the proper strategy. The proper strategy is to pare some of that money away from the market, put it into we call it a GPI account. You put it in an account that's going to grow. It's going to protect that growth. So when you have growth, it locks into growth. And then whenever you choose, it'll give you a lifetime income you can never outlive from that balance. And some of these numbers, the withdrawal rates are 6, 7% compared to Wall Street model at 4%. And the 6 or 7% is guaranteed never to go away. Yeah. And here's another thing, for both spouses.
Yeah.
You could have an IRA, which is an individual retirement account, and you could have your spouse on there. So if you pass away, the spouse continues to get that income.
Yeah.
It's a magical thing, folks. You have to see it to believe it. So make sure, whoever wrote that in, make sure you get your own customized plan. Anybody else who wants here, based on the lump sum that you have, we can show you what kind of lifetime income you could be getting. Hey, does it hurt to see?
No, not at all.
I mean, it's enlightening a lot of times. We've had folks that come in and say, gosh, I could retire tomorrow based on these numbers. Yeah. They were thinking they had to work longer. So a true income plan. I'm Retirement Income Certified Professional, RICP. That's from the American College. I'm trained to offer lifetime income. I mean, it's 3 intensive. Have you seen the course load? 3 intensive courses, 3 intensive exams. And I was one of the first RICPs when it came out about 10 years ago. And a lot of the professors I've had on my show, my radio show. So it's pretty cool. But it works for you folks. And the magic thing is to put you in control of your retirement. And that's what happens. It gives you a peace of mind now. You're not dependent on the stock market. We leave some money in the stock market. So you've got your income plan over here. You've got your stock account over here. Stock accounts and we recommend taking more risk than ever in a stock account after you have your safe income plan put together. So you could get a lot more money in the market, even if the market, you lost all the money in the market, still have your lifetime income plan. Folks, it gives you peace of mind, and that's our goal for all our clients, to give them peace of mind to and through retirement. All right, now, inflation.
Oh boy.
Not anyone's friend.
No.
We've talked about inflation for half your money without doing anything bad. This is where you just had it. Maybe your money wasn't keeping up with inflation because we've had a high inflation rate lately. We always aim for at least 3 or 4% return per year to combat the normal inflation, but you have to have accelerated inflation coverage too we saw 7, 8, 9% inflation.
It's a silent killer.
Yeah. And so then we have something called shrinkflation. That's where they shrink the size of the item you're buying, but they raise the price. The double whammy in the wrong direction. So, again, what can we do to combat this? Well, number one, we need to make sure we don't lose any money. Number two, and when I say not losing money, I'm not just talking about the stock market. We're going to talk about this in a minute. I'm talking about financial termites. And that's risk, fees, and commissions you don't need to be paying. You may be in an account where the person who put you in there is making a lot of money every single quarter on you, and you're not making anything, or you're not hardly making anything, or you're not keeping up with inflation. Get with us for a true inflation-protected plan. If you'd like to get an example, again, based on your numbers, which I always recommend, your income plan, you see the chat box here, just request it. We'll be more than happy to go over that with you. Okay, so inflation, not a fun thing, but we need to talk about it. We need to address it. Kind of boring topic for a while, but it's not too boring anymore when we talk about going to the store. You know, I rile people up sometimes, say, well, you know, you remember going to the grocery store 5 years ago? What did it cost you? Because we usually get the same things when we go to the store. We might add a couple junk food things we don't get every time. But you always get the milk, the bread, those kind of things. The vegetables, avocados, they've doubled in price the last 5 years. I love avocado. I eat avocados like apples. So it's we see it. You see it. Everyone sees it. So what do we do about it? We can all complain about it. We could put a plan together that helps us be in that top 10% of people who understand it, and also their plans will counteract inflation. So very important, Matt. Another thing is litigation. This is our fifth point here. Litigation means, we talked about this briefly. We could do everything perfectly in life, and somebody could still sue us. We don't want to be sued. Or a divorce. It's litigation. You build a plan for both you and your spouse, and everything will be fine once you get to retirement, but then you decide not to be together anymore. So now you need 2 houses. You need 2 loaves of bread every week. You know, 'cause it's 2 different refrigerators, right? So 2 different places. So we need to make sure we have a plan that could still help us if something like that happens. Lawsuit protection. People get sued. So you need that umbrella policy we talked to before. Certain trusts. If you meet with attorneys, we have attorneys we recommend. They can put together a plan. I like to say nothing's 100% bulletproof, though. If something goes wrong, but it gives you a lot more protection if you have the proper legal documents. Another thing is beneficiary designations. So let's say that maybe you fall out of favor with one of your children and you leave them as a beneficiary, or maybe they get married to somebody you don't like or whatever, and you leave them a beneficiary, and you pass away, and your children get the money, and the other spouse that's leaving the family, they take half with them. So there's a lot of stuff we need to set things up correctly. You can do this in special trusts or beneficiary designations.
And I was talking to someone the other day. They had their 3 kids on there, and he was like, that one hasn't talked to me in 20 years. So I was just like, we got to get that fixed.
So review your designations, your beneficiary designations each and every year. I know it seems tedious, but sometimes we forget. We've heard stories before where someone did get a divorce and they never adjusted their beneficiary designations, and then they got remarried and they still had the old spouse as a beneficiary on your life insurance. And it's hard, very hard, to get that reversed if you're passed away. So your ex-spouse could benefit. So another thing is TOD and POD on your accounts. Transfer on death, TOD, is for brokerage accounts. That's sort of a beneficiary designation. POD, payable on death, your bank accounts, your CDs. This will bypass probate, and that'll save you some time and heartache in the future if you do that. And so that leads into our 6th point here is probate. And so those TOD and POD, very, very important to make sure that, probate's a process. It means when you pass away. Now, if you pass away, if your spouse passed away and you're still here, there's no probate process. Everything that's in your name is yours. If you're jointly listed, you control that jointly. So.
Hey, Coach, here's an RMD question. Someone says they have to start taking their RMDs, the required minimum distributions, right now, and they've got several different accounts. He's wondering, which one should they pull from first, and how does he know?
The most important thing is we need to look at where these monies are categorized. So if some of these IRAs are Roth IRAs, it is not even included in that equation for the minimum required distributions, and you don't have to take money out of it. But you could down the road if you want, tax-free. But if it's a regular IRA account, if one is outperforming the other one, or maybe you don't like one of them, you can take all the money needed for all the IRAs out of one. Forget. Maybe you only take a required minimum distributions out of one of your accounts and you forget about 2 others. You know what the penalty is if you fail to take it? 50% of what you're supposed to take. 50% penalty by I really blame advisors for this many times because they need to have an open conversation and dialogue with you every single year about where your IRAs are and make sure you have paid those minimum required distributions by December 31st.
Yes.
You seen anything that you want to add to that, Matt? It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
I would be curious to know why she has 3 separate IRAs.
Yeah, a lot of times we recommend that you roll all these IRAs together in one super IRA and then have an income plan attached to that. So now you not only have that money in a safe place, but now you have lifetime income you can never outlive. And then we can show you how to take the money out for the MRDs. A lot of people tell me they don't even need the money, but they're made to take the money out. So we've had strategies before where we turn the tables on the government. They make you take money out of your IRAs because you have to pay tax on it, then take that money and buy a life insurance policy that'll give a big number tax-free to your next of kin and give you that long-term care protection too. So now you're utilizing that money for something besides just blowing it on something. Well, I got money, let me go blow it somewhere. But I always encourage you to have fun with some of your retirement money because that's why you put the money away. Right? And I had a client once tell me he started flying first class right before retirement. I said, "You're moving on up like George Jefferson." He said, "Coach, if I don't spend it, my daughter will." So, enjoy your life. That's what we're here. Stock market. Mitigating market risks in your retirement portfolio. Now, it's fun to be in the market when we're putting new money in and we're working at a company and we've got plenty of money coming in and we can take the ups and downs of the market. But when we retire, we don't need these ups and downs anymore because we may be dependent on that money in the market for lifetime income. You don't want your income to go from this kind of amount one year down to this amount the next year. But if the market's fluctuating like that, using the market rules, the Monte Carlo simulation, taking 4% out, you could get less money out each year. So that's why we need a lifetime income plan with some of our money, right? That's how you help yourself mitigate the risk of the market. What's a good strategy, Matt, do you think, to protect folks if they have maybe 5 or 6 years to put money away to protect themselves from the fluctuation of the market? Is that a long enough time period to keep all their money at risk if they're like 5 years away from retirement? I don't think so. But
no, I would say, I'd probably say 10 years is probably a good sweet spot to start transitioning some over, for sure.
I would ask myself, how comfortable are you in your current risk allocation if the market went the wrong way? It's fun when it goes up.
Yeah.
What we call the standard deviation. And so let's say if you have $1 million having your money in the wrong place. You've already got to the finish line. You're right there. You're getting ready to win. And instead, you turn around and run the other way. Seen this in football sometimes. The guy scoops up a fumble and he runs the wrong way. We can't have that happen with money we can't afford to lose. So that's just very important. So if you want to have your own lifetime income plan put together, make sure you understand all the little things that go on behind the scenes and make sure to put you and your family in control and give you that freedom you deserve. Just hit that chat button over there and ask us a question or request a consultation with the team. And it's non-threatening. We'll just... instead of what the broker wanted to sell you. But it just makes sense now to consolidate into a... that income is now tax-free. Matt, tax-free is a great phrase in retirement.
It's awesome, and it makes our job a lot easier as well.
It does. All right, now, this is the one that I'm ashamed of in this industry here. The financial industry and arena has so many we call them brokers behaving badly. Unscrupulous folks, doing the wrong thing, doing what's great for them and not for you and your family. So we want to identify conflicts in the broker world out there. We call them financial termites. They loaded your accounts up with too many risk fees and commissions to benefit them and not you. Let's look at what some brokers do. It's called churning. They have your money. They're going to All right, well, what's his or her quality plan? I write about that in my book, The Big Book on Retirement. You see it right next to me over here. We've got a camera angle right there, Big Book on Retirement. There's a lot of specialized planning that needs to be done, but it doesn't.
Still wanting to max it out.
Hey, Matt, do you think people ever argue?
Still wanting to max it out.
Hey, Matt, do you think people ever argue about money?
Yeah. All the time.
I'm gonna let you. What do you think with that one? That's a pretty good question.
If you want to be conservative, I would go on the low end.
Yep.
Maybe 5-6%.
Yep.
But I think the better way to look at it is maybe see
Market model. It could always be more, yeah, but a market model. It could always be more, yeah, but it could also be less.
Right.
We want something that 0 is the worst we could do per year. We want to make sure we have lifetime income from that. So I think if we, like you said, if we reverse engineer into looking at where you are with your money now, what the balance is, and where you could be, and what kind of lifetime income you could generate, it may make a little sense, and you may have more money than you ever imagined to be able to do everything you want to do in retirement. Yeah. That takes a lot of the confusion away from planning,
right.
And that gets us into the number 9 section here on the how to protect your nest egg, is confusion gaining clarity in retirement planning. And I think that was a really good question to lead right into this, because there is a lot of confusion in retirement planning. How can people eliminate some of this confusion? Get informed.
Come talk to us.
Make sure you deal with a fiduciary planning organization. Now, what does a fiduciary mean? It means we always have to put your needs above our needs. We cannot take commissions out of your money. Very important. Yeah. There's a lot of people, every quarter you're seeing commissions disappear out of your money. Now, if you're dealing with a money management fee, they have a quarterly management fee. That's a little different. That is not included in the fiduciary law, because that is a disclosed fee that's coming out, a management fee they call it. But commissions should not be coming out of your money. Right. We are compensated by financial institutions out of their money, not your money. Very important distinguishing remark right there, because a lot of folks don't understand that, and they're letting someone milk them.
Yeah.
And I always say, whose retirement are you funding, yours or your broker's? So make sure you understand what's going out. And a lot of the fees are not disclosed readily, so we can do that analysis, an x-ray of your portfolio, to put you in. It has the long-term care, that'll pay for long-term care out of your death benefit. If you haven't heard about that, you really need to hear about that. A lot of people don't know you could have guaranteed lifetime income based on the money you already have put aside. Yeah. You may not even have to, you could retire, you may be able to retire.
Talking about the last time we did a show together, the Visionary Engines, and I checked it out at PeteOnDemand.com. I mean, you've got everything from the future benefits predictor to the 401k power illustrator. It's a lot there.
Yeah, Visionary Engines. In other words, you can hypothetically put different numbers in to see what really could happen. You envision things happening. So we've seen 6 and 7% payout rates compared to that 4%, and the 6 and 7 are 100% guaranteed always there.
Yeah, and people are in their 70s.
Pete D'Arruda, who's sitting here with me. I'm Thomas Lipscomb. We're going to be going through Pete D'Arruda, who's sitting here with me. I'm Thomas Lipscomb. We're going to be going through all chapters of this book that are meant to, we talked about this. You've talked about this in your big book on retirement, Financial Safari, properly setting up all aspects of your retirement plan as you head into retirement. And this is specifically for taxes.
Well, unfortunately, taxes are a big part, positive and negative, of a good retirement plan. So if you have your tax situation under control, it's a positive situation.
Yes.
If tax situation's out of control, it could be a huge negative. And not only for you, but for your next of kin. When you pass away, you want to make sure that they're inheriting something that's nice, not a tax time bomb. So we go through that in the book. There's a lot of different tools and techniques here, and just ways to identify the tax situation you're in now, but also how to minimize that going forward. It happened, but he told us way later than he should have. I mean, his friend should have told us before he did it. We could have given him some free advice here of things not to do. He did exactly what he shouldn't have done, but he didn't know any.
Taxes are an issue. You know that you need to get a handle on them, and you want to talk to Coach Pete's fiduciary team just to get that aligned with your goals and your plan in retirement. The time to act is now. We're going to make this opportunity available at the end of every video, but call in, set up that discussion with one of his fiduciary planners so that you can be on the right track for this really beautiful time of life.
Let me give you a life hack here. Download the audio at CoachPete.com. Look for the Tax Savvy Retirement audio.
Yeah.
Play it while you're looking through the book.
That's good, yeah.
It really helps you remember things more when you have somebody reading it to you, but you see that we've got a lot of diagrams in the book too, and so it helps you understand a lot better. And you can take notes in the book with a pen. Make notes in the book. This is your book, folks. You don't have to, remember we used to.
This big game, every move counts. Plan wisely to win the match. Sidestep the unexpected and charge towards your goal. Navigate through the challenges. Retirement is your end zone, and the touchdown is within reach. A successful retirement is your A successful retirement is your championship. Let Coach Pete design your customized income game plan today.
It is like the penny stocks.
It is.
With no value. It's sort of like that movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. They were selling junk. That's junk too.
I want to start with REITs because there may be a lot of people out there who don't even know what a REIT is. So a real estate investment trust.
It's a group of investors get together with a manager who can't buy a skyscraper individually, but they pool investors' money together and buy big things like that, shopping centers. So that's what they use to show you how great it is in these very glossy brochures. And they do. What's happened the last few years? Do people go into work a lot? What's happened the last few years? Do people go into work a lot? How many of them are sitting with maybe 50% occupancy? Now it's not making enough money to even pay the bills the building, like the non-traded REIT people are on the hook for the big mortgage payment for these big skyscrapers. Mm-hmm. So then what happens is they are forced into bankruptcy, these non-traded REITs. Now, I want to get to that. Let's put a pause button here. Let me tell you what a traded REIT is. You can look up traded REITs on the internet, and these are basically symbols that you see in the stock market. You could buy it today and sell it tomorrow afternoon, or you could buy it at 10 and sell it at 10:05. Some pay a dividend. I like dividend stocks. That means you're getting paid to take a risk. And yes, it's risky because at any time you buy a stock, it could go down, right?
Yeah.
That's a traded REIT. Now, the non-traded REITs, you're at the mercy of the company behind it. And here's some breaking news. As of February 3rd, 2026, and here's one of the companies that's been peddled like crazy around this area, Inspired Healthcare Capital has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. This follows a period of significant instability starting in July 2025. Which includes suspension of distribution. Who sold it to you is going to tell you all good things, and don't worry because they're worried about being sued right now. One of the things they're using to sell these a lot of times is they're selling long-term care facility non-traded REITs. And they're trying to say, well, look, everyone's going to the nursing home. But a lot of these, after they get the money, they still don't build the facility. Let's say you had $1.5 million, okay? And they've shown what you put in. And it comes back at $1,050,000. Wait, at $1,050,000. Wait, you put $1,200,000. You put $1,200,000 in. Now your balance shows $1,050,000. So they're charging you a management fee, and then the mutual fund company also charges you a management fee. Wouldn't you want to insure your income and not give it to these guys peddling these non-traded REITs? The only retirement you're insuring is your brokers when you give them that money, because they're taking money right out of your money. I am really adamant and really ticked off about what I've seen this week. And this gals who are doing it, they should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves, and they should get back onto the insured money methods and not offering these junk products that they're selling to people that are unsuspecting. And they get them with a little folksy attitude when they go in, and then they get screwed into the investments like this. So be very careful, folks. There's a lot of games and gimmicks out here, and it's all designed for the broker to make money instead of you. And I always say, whose retirement are you funding? Yours or your broker's? I can 100% confidently say we've helped every single person that I've ever met with in my life because we put them in lifetime income strategies. I am a retirement income certified professional. If you want a review of your portfolio, the best time to find out if you're in the wrong places right now, give me a call. For the next 10 of you, we'll sit down with you and go through Coach Pete's Power Plan, which talks about insured lifetime income and no games and gimmicks. And we are a fiduciary team because we stand behind everything we do, and we treat you just like we treat our own parents.
All right, you pretty much have a book for everything. So how do we find your books? Where do we find them at? Where can I get a copy of all of them?
Yeah.
How many books do we have?
Well, I got 20 books now. And so
How many books do we have?
Well, I got 20 books now. And so
The big book of retirement.
The big book on retirement, that's the biggest book. No, it's not. The Through the Years book is the biggest book. So we went from 1909 all the way to 2024 and told you relevant facts and the same facts like inflation, what the stock market was, what a car costs for each year. So it's fun to go back. I used to get these birthday cards and said, you were born in 1966. Here's what a loaf of bread costs. Here's what milk costs. Here's the famous car, the famous actors.
Yeah.
We do the same thing with the Through the Years book.
1985.
Okay.
And we've got cost of living, and I'm looking at 56 cents for bread, milk $2.26 a gallon, gold $327 an ounce.
Wow.
What is it now?
Over 5,000.
Oh,
right around there. It's crazy, isn't it?
Mortgage was 12% interest.
Well, yeah, those are hard. That's a big one there. But houses were a lot lower in price.
That's nuts. I'm looking at this gold number, and I'm wishing I would have invested in that.
Yeah, I wish you could, but
One of your latest books at this point, because I'm sure by the time somebody might watch this, you could have another one out.
19 books now.
19.
So we've got to get a 20 out there, right?
We
Gotta
have
stop
to.
at 20 at least.
We have to.
Maybe it'll be 30 by the time I get done. But
yeah,
I said, if you have an IRA and you're under 59.5, if you have an IRA and you're under 59.5 and you take the money out, you're going to talk about in the book a lot, is keeping the IRS on your side, not against you.
I like that.
Using the rules in your favor.
That's good. Something else that is discussed here is the Secure Act, and I'm sure a lot of people may have heard this in the news. They weren't really sure. Maybe you know a couple of things of how it could affect you, but the Secure Act, this was a pretty big change for the retirement landscape.
One of the big things here is there used to be something we would recommend called a stretch IRA.
Yes.
Yeah, and they took it away in the Secure Act.
They did.
Stretch IRA said, hey, I've got an IRA here, a big amount, let's say, and I'm going to pass away, and I know I'm not going to use all that money, so let me leave that money to my granddaughter, who would be 10, maybe we'll say she's 10 years old when I die at 80, right?
Right, yeah.
And so she inherits my IRA, and now she doesn't have to pay tax on that. She inherits it, and then she has to take out just a small amount of money each year in that IRA, and it continues to grow for her lifetime. They took that away in the Secure Act. You can only do that for 10 years now. So when you die, your granddaughter can only get 10 years and bigger payments, which are more taxes. So that's what the government wants to make taxes. Again, the stretch IRA is not what it used to be. But again, there's some other ways out there to help you on taxation. So some life insurance policies sometimes make more sense because you can leave a tax-free death benefit to your next of kin using your money in your IRA to arbitrage into the life insurance policy to turn it back into tax-free. So there's a lot of creative ways we can put a plan together that makes sense. And that's why we offer a no-cost consultation, by the way. You got the bookmark in the book has a golden ticket.
Yes.
But you can also call anytime you see us on this video. We've got the CoachPete.com, or you can call the number you see right on the screen to request a consultation with my team to put a total tax and retirement plan together for yourself and your family.
Folks, do it right now. Call that number you see. There is so much power that goes into Coach Pete's total retirement income plan. Start yours today and stay tuned. Chapter 2 is coming right around the corner.
Social Security is one of the backbones of retirement planning and relied upon by millions of Americans every month. So why do we keep hearing that Social Security is in trouble? From its inception, Social Security helped establish the very idea of widespread retirement in the U.S. and allowed Americans to enjoy their golden years without fear of slipping into poverty. What are people saying now about the state of Social Security?
It's funny when we talk about Social Security, depending on who you listen to, it's either going out of business tomorrow or it's going to be here forever. But anyone who's never put money into the Social Security Administration, or they're not a U.S. citizen, does not deserve a penny of the Social Security I put aside.
I know that these changes can be scary to talk about, but let's get it out of the way. What are some measures? Social Security Viability Lightning Round. I'll give Coach some potential solutions for Social Security viability, and he'll shoot back with his thoughts. First up, raising the retirement age.
65 is what we always heard. Now it's 67 for a lot of people, 68, 69. And so that way that reduces the amount of burden on the Social Security Administration to pay because you can't get it until a certain age. Now, you can still get it now at 62, and that's still available. So maybe they'll take that away. I don't think they should, but they're floating every single idea out there, raising the retirement to get a whole lot less benefit.
All right, now break down means testing.
What do you usually have to do? You have to use that to sacrifice safety. So if you are promised, or they're trying to get a higher sacrifice safety. So if you are promised, or they're trying to get a higher rate of return, they could end up with a lower or a negative rate of return on that. So consider what your spending is going to be needed, what kind of money you're going to need in retirement. Make sure you have enough money put aside in your core account that's going to give you a lifetime income. Most people I talk to don't have any idea about what an income plan is and how it can give them lifetime confidence because you get lifetime income. So all the things together, I don't agree with trying to minimize your expenses. I'd rather have you try to make more money or have a better stream of income so you can do all the things you want to do in retirement. We work 30 or 40 years, we put aside
in the economy, in politics, or anything else. We want to help you put together a plan. Coach Pete and the team at Capital Financial can help you navigate the financial world to get you where you want to be in retirement. Take advantage of the no-cost, no-obligation financial review to understand the ins and outs of your retirement plan. A customized plan based on your wants and needs. Contact us today. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more retirement help.
Here we are, the big book on retirement, chapter 1. It's all about picking the right coach. I'm Thomas Lipscomb here alongside the coach, Coach Pete D'Arruda, the author of this great book that hopefully you're getting into. I did want to bring this up too, since we're at the beginning of this walkthrough. Maybe you're having a hard time getting through the book. You don't have enough time to sit down and read.
It's a big book, so it might be intimidating, but we did make the print pretty big, so people like me who usually need reading glasses don't even need reading glasses.
There you go. And for people like me who drive a little bit, the audio book is available. So if you want to head over to CoachPete.com, grab that audio book. It's another great way to listen through the content. But let's talk about picking the right coach. This is chapter 1, so a little bit important, I would imagine.
Well, you watch some sports on TV every now and then. You hear about these teams, and sometimes the teams aren't that good, so they get rid of the coach.
Yeah.
And they hire a new coach, and the same players start playing a lot better.
Interesting how that works.
So having a good coach in the financial world can put you in control of your retirement. That's what we're talking about. So if you're not really sure if you're on the right track, or your current advisor isn't giving you what you think the attention you deserve, or putting you in the place you deserve to be in, then get a second opinion. Maybe get a new coach, but have a review, have your current plan put against what's currently out there, and see if it match up to what your plan is going to do for you in the future.
There you go. Important points to be looking at, and I think this is why we like to start off that review process with a second opinion. This is an important time in people's lives. It is similar to I think a doctor's visit where you find out something big, a pregnancy or something. So you may want a second opinion if there's a disease in play, just to make sure, am I following the right procedure and protocol?
Let's say you don't feel that good. You go to your doctor, he says everything's fine. Maybe you want to go see another doctor and make sure everything really is fine.
Exactly.
Same thing in the financial world. And it shouldn't be confrontational. It should just be putting...
Annuities, I buy them. Right? And I've got some that start at age 60, some that start at age 62, some that start at age 65. Most of them start whenever I want. And so I'm guaranteed to have increasing tax-free income for the rest of my life. And that's what I encourage people to do, because we're approaching $40 trillion in debt. I mean, our interest on our debt is more than the defense budget for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force. It's unbelievable. And so I think getting yourself in a position to get as much tax-free income is important, and the multiple streams is very important.
We call that a laddering strategy, and anyone who's watching can get one. Like, if you don't have a laddering strategy, if you don't have income, you really need it. Get an analysis, get a free review, get an x-ray of your portfolio. CoachPete.com is people go there, CoachPete.com. You can find out a lot of education on your own, and then if you're interested in finding out more advanced planning, let us know.
Yeah, and it's free.
This big game, every move counts. Plan wisely to win the match. Sidestep the unexpected and charge towards your goal. Navigate through the challenges. Retirement is your end zone, and the touchdown is within reach. A successful retirement is your championship. Let Coach Pete design your customized income game plan today.
All right, I'm not sure what kind of strategy this is, but I just saw this and I have to ask you about it. What does cash dragging into mutual funds mean?
Cash dragging is just basically, I picture using your mouse and you drag it from mutual cash over to the mutual fund and
Okay.
put it in there. It's just dollar cost averaging into mutual funds.
Okay.
So instead of putting all the money you have at one time into a mutual fund, you take that money, divide it in 12 little packets, and once a month you put in 1/12 into the mutual fund. Why do you
Okay.
do that? Because the mutual funds go up and down in price. You do what's called dollar cost averaging, which equals out the curves. In other words, smooths out the curves so you're not buying too high or too low. You're in the middle all the time.
See, that's why this is what my Ryan would say at this point. Just handle it, coach. You just handle it.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
In college or right out of college, but that's not even anywhere close on the priority list, is it?
No.
You're not even thinking about that back then.
No, because
I did.
that's nails, you know.
I actually bought, I saw in the USA Today newspaper back in the, remember the newspapers?
Sure.
Back in the day, they had the, I always looked at the want ad stuff, and back there, or the classified ads they call them. There was an ad back there, and it was only ran one day, and I just happened to be traveling. You know, every time I traveled, I got a USA Today. That was the funnest thing to get when you're traveling, before the cell phones.
Yes.
So it's full color, all that. But a little ad, it said, invest in the IPO like the big guys, but right here. So if you could get 33 shares of Boston Beer Company for 10 cents a share, or $10 a share. So it's $330. I wrote a check. You could only get 33 shares, but that, you know, it's $10 a share. It ended up going to like $400 a share.
Oh, wow.
And it was paying all sorts of dividends and everything.
Nice.
So it turned out a good thing. So, and then I did some dividend reinvestment programs. So if you're just starting out and you're saying, Coach, I want to start saving somewhere. Well, number one, 401k at your work if you want. A lot of times they offer the Roth option. If you're young, do the Roth option. You don't get a tax write-off, but it builds tax-free forever.
You bet.
You come out so much further ahead if you have 20 years or longer to hold that money in a Roth than a regular one. Now, a lot of people like that immediate tax deduction, so they put money in the regular 401k. They get to write off a little bit of the money they put into the 401k. The problem is all that money is going to be taxable down the road, including the growth.
Yes.
So would you rather have growth with no tax or growth with tax? Of course.
Definitely no tax.
And so, but save somewhere. I did dividend reinvestment programs. I still do. There's a good mutual fund or ETF. Vanguard has VOO, which is the S&P 500. These are good places to start. And they can take a little money every month and dollar cost average in, and it's a good way to start. But I really think by the age of 40, you need to start thinking about saving some money. Because now you still have 25 years
Serious
to
How
65.
do you deal with people that are coming?
A mortgage payment. And so depending on what the interest rate is, now if you have a high interest rate, 12 if you pay a one extra payment a year. So that's easy to do.
Yeah.
And so that's, in a way, you're saving, because if you get your house paid off quicker, now you'll have all that free money to start really accelerating your savings in the future, okay? But I think there's no substitute for the time value of money. The sooner you can get that money put away, the more it's going to grow, and then the more that interest in there is going to grow itself. So it's going to triple compound. And Albert Einstein called that one of the 8 wonders of the world.
Okay.
So again, don't worry if you haven't saved, but you may be doing a lot of things that are helping you and don't even realize it. If you're paying those bills off early, you're helping yourself.
That's interesting, because I heard you and Amanda on her endorsement on the radio, and you were talking about, well, I've still got some furniture that that you bought on time, as my dad used to say.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you were asking him, what do I need to pay off first?
Yep, and it was 0%, but they can still get you in the fine print, which is one of the books that really helped me that Coach Pete gave me was like, hey, in the fine print fiasco.
Fine print
Yes.
fiasco. Yep.
You can really, if you miss some of those details, oh, it's 60 months, oh, it's 0%, that can bite you. And coming from a family of parents who work check to check,
Yes.
and not knowing about money, and you see all those flashy things when you are in your 20s, when you are graduating, and you think, I want all this now. I want the fence, and I want the furniture, and I want the car.
Gratisfaction, I call it. You want it immediate.
You want it immediately, and it really does require discipline. And I just implore you to get Coach in your circle and learn, like, hey, where could I be when I'm 60? Look long term. Stop looking so short term, and then you'll be where you need to be.
You know, the game and gimmicks, the same as cash. 60 months, same as cash. 5 years, same as cash. They
Yeah.
try to get you to do that. And here's the two zingers in there. Number one, they require a minimum payment every month still.
Yep.
And if you miss one of those minimum payments, they'll go back and get you for all the interest that you haven't paid yet, plus all the interest you have in the future.